pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. You are at the Mitchell County Courthouse. This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting. Today we have in front of us an agenda. The agenda. Is there any motions to approve the agenda? So moved. Todd has made a motion.
I'll second that.
Mark has seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay. Hearing none. Motion has been approved to approve the agenda. Approve the minutes of March 9th meeting. Hopefully everybody's read it. Is there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 9th.
Mark has made a motion.
Second.
Mike has seconded. Roll call. Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Smolik, aye. So we've approved the minutes of the March 9th meeting. County Attorney, general discussion. Are you there, Mark?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to take the floor?
I really don't have anything other than just a general discussion. Steve, you've heard this discussion before, but I don't know if the other supervisors have. I've had some questions this week about the policy handbook, and Steve knows my opinion on it, which is take the thing, put it in the shredder, don't have one, because it's never used in the county's favor. It's always used against the county. For example, if you look at the termination section, and I haven't looked at it recently, but it goes through, oh, you got to have the person in, and you give them a warning, and then you have to give them a written warning, and all these things. Well, many times there's just egregious action where the person needs to be terminated right away. They've done something so terrible with no warning, no written warning, anything like that, and the county terminates them. Well, then they go to an unemployment hearing and they show the judge the book and says, look, judge, they have to go through all this procedure and they didn't go through it. Because of that, I should get unemployment benefits. Now, the handbook says right on the front page, you know, this is just an outline. It's not an offer of unemployment. And, you know, this handbook, for lack of a better word, really means nothing, but we're giving it to you anyway. So, nothing specific, nothing there. I just wanted all the supervisors, the new ones, and some of you may be aware of this already, having worked for the county, that handbook legally means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that's why I don't even want to have one. But that's just kind of a general overview on policies, handbooks, because many times the supervisors will try to tell this elected official, you know, this is our handbook and you have to follow it. And I say, well, no, they're an elected official. They can run their department however they want to. If they don't want to follow the handbook, they don't have to. So that's just kind of a summary, so everybody kind of is on the same page and knows basically what a handbook and a policies book is. So if anybody has any questions, otherwise I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't know, any place I've been employed, every employer has rules and policies and whatever, and they're followed. I mean, if nobody had any rules or policies, the world would be in bad shape. I don't know, I guess. Well, you know, I'm just saying, for every place I work, there's always been policies, and policies are followed. You know, why else would you have them?
Well, and therein lies the problem. And I haven't looked at the handbook recently, but I'm confident that it says you have to do this, and you have to do this, and you have to do this before you can terminate someone. And I always like to use the ridiculous example. Suppose one of the employees in the courthouse kills somebody else in the courthouse. Do you think we have to go through the, oh, we've got to give them a verbal warning and then a written warning, it's got to go in their file and they've got to sign it? Of course we don't. So, and there's other examples where people have fallen asleep on the job and continuously fallen asleep on the job, and they've been terminated for it. So what I'm saying is those policy handbooks don't have to be followed by anybody. They mean legally, from a legal viewpoint, they mean absolutely nothing. That's why I don't like them, because I've never seen them used in the county's favor. I've always seen them used against it. It's usually in an unemployment hearing situation. Look, Judge, they didn't follow their own procedures. I get unemployment. And sometimes the judge say, yes, you do, and sometimes the judge says, no, you don't. It just depends upon the judge again. So that, I'm just giving you my opinion, and I'm just telling you, as a legal matter, those handbooks mean absolutely nothing. Because look at the second page, and then almost the very last page. Our handbook even says that you know, we don't have, it doesn't say these exact words, but it basically says this isn't a contract, which means we don't have to follow it. I'm just telling you.
Sounds like the handbook needs updating.
Legally.
I mean, go work in a nursing home and then tell me that policies don't have to be followed. Tell me how far you get. You know, I don't know, maybe the policy book needs updated then if it's that vague.
It just was updated.
Well, I mean, if you have a gross miss.
It was updated, and I think if you ask any department head, they'll tell you they hate it.
I know them steps to being fired, they're with any employer, but if you do something above and beyond, you know, normal, yeah, you're gonna be terminated on the spot. That's everywhere. And usually it's stated that way in the handbook also. You know.
Well, I'll just ask everybody this then. Has everybody read the policy handbook from front to back and know what it says? So that you know that you're not violating any policy?
Not recently. It's been a long time, and I just went from part to part, but was years ago.
Yeah, Steve, you know this better than me, but it's been updated within the last, I'm going to say the last year, right?
It was beginning of 2019.
2019, beginning of 2019, so it's been a couple of years.
Okay.
But, again, policies and rules, there's a difference between some policies you just plain follow, whether it's right or wrong.
I can tell you where I came from. We have a handbook also at our Donnelly, and with the workforce that's out there, you can't go by it because you can't get anybody hired. I mean, if somebody does something really, really bad, totally understand, but we get what we call check marks, and there's nobody out there to replace anybody. You know, there's just not the workforce. So when you look at that handbook, just like Mark said, you fall asleep while his machine's running. I mean, no, it's not right, but he's a good operator. Well, let's wake him up and tell me that's not right. Get a check mark, but he can't be replaced, he or she. And so it's tough out there in 2021 with trying to get people hired.
I'll just tell you a somewhat, and I think it's a humorous example, and you guys may not, this isn't a local employer, and the only reason I know this is one of my friends works at HR in this company. It was before you could be employed, you had to take a drug test. And they were basically screening for meth, opioids, and marijuana. Well, marijuana stays in your system for about 28 days. So if you smoke it today, the middle of April, you're still going to test positive. And they couldn't get anybody hired. So rather than do anything, change their handbook, whatever, they just quit testing for marijuana, for THC. I mean, that's the only way they can get people hired. So, I mean, their handbook still says, you know, you can't test positive for these things. So they weren't testing positive because the company quit testing. So, I mean, that's just, you know, there's the handbook and then there's ways around the handbook. So, but I just don't want anybody to think this is the handbook, and because it's in the handbook, we have to follow it 100%, because you don't.
Alrighty. Is there any other
I don't have
questions?
anything else unless anybody has any questions.
Hearing none, I guess we'll move on. Sheriff, your new hiree comes up, tests positive for drugs, are you gonna hire him?
Nope.
If you have an employee that tests positive for drugs, are you gonna fire him?
Well, I think they'll probably go to some type of counseling first. I'll give them an opportunity, but if they don't get off it, they're not working for me.
I think you answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Sheriff, update.
Yeah, so as recent as yesterday, I had a few crashes with the bad weather. Nobody got hurt, so consider that a win, I guess. And we tested on Saturday for the deputy's position. So remember, we had 22 applications sent out, 17 came back, and then we had, I think, 16 that showed up for either a portion of the PT test that was required for some of those folks, and then the post-test exam, which is a aptitude test essentially that's required that they take. So we ended up having 12, I believe it was 12 that came and took the written exam, and of those 12, we have 6 now that were certified by the Civil Service Commission here in Mitchell County that are eligible to be hired. So the next process now is we'll go through those applications, we'll set some interview dates for next week, and start whittling those 6 down to probably 2 or 3 to choose from, and then we'll make a decision. My time frame is I hope that sometime early May that we can get a deputy hired, and we'll be back to full staff. Any questions on that? Or any other questions? That's really all I have for you today.
Yes, that's it, Sheriff.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
You bet.
I do not see a county engineer. So
He's here.
he is here. Okay, Rich.
A webinar at 9 o'clock, so I wanted to make sure I got back for it, so.
You have the floor.
Anything going on, we have projects being let today through the DOT.
Okay, Rich, you're still there. Okay.
I'm here. We have projects being let today, we won't know them, we probably won't know any results until later this afternoon. Then the guys are out, scraping roads, trying to be a little bit ginger on the gravel roads, as there's, not much snow in the open areas, but where there's, trees and whatnot, there's snow piled up, so we're not gonna try to wing too much in the ditch, we're probably gonna try to roll some of that off on the edges. It's gonna be warmer this week, but it melts so we don't throw rock in the ditches, so. Other than that, there's not a whole lot we're testing right now. One other thing, if you guys remember, maybe you guys don't know this, this was started about last year one time. I'm working with Adam Shirley on that Otrano Google project between him, I, and the DNR. So that's been taking some time to meet with those people and figure out the plans for that project. Other than that, that's all we've got going on this year. If you got any questions, I'm here.
Anybody have any questions for Rich?
You gonna be here for the main-to-main conversation, Rich, or should I ask my question now?
I don't know how this is gonna work, having different webinars going on at the same time, I don't know.
Okay, so I'll ask my question now then. So we had an email in regards to the main-to-main last year. There was a semi that was apparently, he was initially delayed, and then you escorted him to a bin site. Is there plans this year as far as to help public get to their private residences and to businesses to get to their locations?
Well, did you ask if there was a plan for that? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, is there?
I guess, I didn't expect that we'd have to do anything last year with the road being closed, and a detour set up, but I guess, I don't know, I guess I had a phone call saying I needed to help escort a truck to a farm site, so that's what I did.
Okay. I can see where it should be closed as far as people from out of town and that type of thing, but private residences or somebody that has, a good example is a bin site that they need to access that day. I guess it would be nice if we could have some sort of pilot car that would, like you did, you escorted them to that location. I don't have a problem with people out of town not being able to use it, but I don't want the locals to start getting the thing where, oh no, this is happening again this year. I don't want this to turn into a negative thing.
Right, and I think each year the local people on that road understand what's going on. I guess I don't know the situation, how, it must have been a situation where that drain had to get out. Typically, I don't think when I'm there, if there is an escort needed, I'll do that.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, if there was a plan, if we had a thought.
Is that it then?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, as long as Rich's meetings aren't till 9 o'clock, we could jump over 6 and 7 and get right to discuss and approve the 2021 main-to-main marathon road closures and have Rich here yet. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I will let you have the floor.
Yes, my name is Gail.
Thank you.
I'm
Gail.
the director of the CRC, and I'm the main race director
Your
too.
last
Nelson.
Thank you.
So yes, this is our 4th year for Main to Main. So yes, last year we did hold it through a pandemic and also a lightning delay. So it's the worst nightmare, but it worked out really well because we were one of the few races in the whole nation to have this event. And I can't tell you how thankful all the members, the runners, even the volunteers were to be able to run. And I think it helped so much for our county because they stay at our hotels, they shopped in all their businesses, they ate as well. It's just a huge, people from 28 states and even Mexico came for this event last year. And that's the biggest we've had nationwide. We had, just for the marathon event, 80 runners and 40 of them were Boston qualifiers. So it's a big time event that happens in August. We added a 5K last year to our half marathon and 10K so that we can get more local participants involved, and we're going to stick with that as well. You know, the goal of Main to Main is to bring the communities together. It's a true great event for the community to volunteer at. It starts in Osage, goes to Mitchell, and goes through St. Ansgar, and then back. And we couldn't do it without our volunteers. And as you know, I'm here today to try to get that Foothill Avenue closed. I did read in that paper that it is getting repaved, I think this year is what I was reading. So just wondering how that works for our event. Can we run on it if it's not done? Or do we need to think of it
Rich,
different?
can you answer her question on that?
Gail and I had an email conversation a week ago or so, but the project is set up to be completed before that time period and not started until after that time period. So once we get a contractor on board, we'll have some serious discussions on timeline.
Yeah, that's my only concern, Rich. I know how construction goes. It's never on time. And So when it comes to August 15th and I can't run on the road, I am not gonna be very happy. Or with the runners.
Yep. Yep.
So I guess, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I don't know if there's a guaranteed way that they can say, I know rain happens, stuff happens where I know it won't be on time, so that's my biggest concern, and now we're planning at full speed right now. I just need to know guaranteed that if it's not done, is there a way that we can run on it?
I guess there's probably things that the contractor can do if it's not completed by then. I don't know which way, I don't know which way they plan on paving, or anything like that, so I guess I would still say that you should be able to go ahead with your project, with Marathon. We'll just make sure when we have that contractor's, recon, that we make sure that it's open for at least the Marathon. I keep running this scenario in my head about whether or not, if they're almost done, what happens, if it's not completely completed, maybe the concrete's done, or maybe some of it's not yet. We make them pull the paver off and then make a transition onto the, from the old pavement to the new pavement, or something like that.
Is it you're putting concrete over it, is that what the plan is? Okay.
Yep. So, we'll know more after we get the contract on board.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if it's possible, we'll keep planning it, and that's where I'm here today. If we can get that road closed, obviously, hopefully it will be closed if it's repaved, but if it's after, like you said, it might happen after the date, August 20th, 21st. Can we get it closed that way?
We can, what we can maybe do, we can maybe, encourage the contractor to start after that. But remember, if we start in August and we start after that, we're in school and we're in
Farming season.
and harvest. But that, it's not the first time that that's happened before either, so. We'll know more after it. I would say that I guess I'll make a way that it happens.
Okay. All right.
That's all I can tell you. Everything is, unpredictable, but we'll certainly work with you on that.
Sounds good, I appreciate it. That's all I have.
Okay,
What
thank you,
actually
Gail.
is the time that you closed on?
We set it up at 2:30 in the morning, so that's when we put the barricades out to close it. So it'd be from basically 2:30 in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. However, we do open that road up as we have a follow car that follows the last car, and that car starts ripping out the barricade, so it starts opening up the road. So if you prefer to, but we just say to for our county's sake, that they can plan ahead to not go down that road.
Is that August 21st?
August 21st, yep.
And my comments earlier were not negative towards the running ends. I think that's a really good thing that you're doing here. I just want to make sure that it never gets to be a problem with the public as far as now they're here again kind of thing. So
Yeah,
that's why I want this to be.
We try to send a letter to all the people on the route so they know ahead of time that it's happening. I know that semi-ordeal, I remember getting a call about that. If there was one way that we could, I think it's the road past the cemetery in town here. It's Kirkwood, I think, is where they come in to go into town. I think that's where the semi was gonna go out there unless there was two semis.
Oh, so it wasn't south of St. Ansgar.
Maybe he
The
had
accident
one.
was not in St. Ansgar. It came in from the north and had to go to the first farm site there, south of there. So that was in St. Ansgar. That I was involved with.
Okay. And there was one in Osage as well by, trying to probably go to Fox River Mills would be my guess.
And I realize that stuff happens. I just want to kind of think ahead as far as if there is a call, that it's not one of these, what are we going to do with things? There's a plan, we can kind of figure it out, so.
Well, and Foothill's the only one that was, technically completely closed. Everything else just kind of a light closure. Foothill we put up a detour for.
setting the date for public hearing on proposal to enter in taxable obligation, refunding loan agreement, and to borrow money thereunder. And this would be, the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors will meet on March 30th, 2021 at the Mitchell County Courthouse, Osage, Iowa, at 9:00 a.m. for the purpose of instituting and proceedings and taking action on the proposal to enter into the loan agreement and borrow money thereunder in principal amount not to exceed $6,115,000. And that is resolution number 1080-21, correct?
Yep.
So we have to have motions on this, correct?
To set the date, yes.
To set the date. Do we have any motions to that effect?
Yeah, I can move, setting the date, March 30th, 2021 at 9 a.m. for a public hearing on proposal to set into a taxable general obligation refunding loan agreement and to borrow money, referencing resolution 1080-21.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to that effect?
I will second that effect.
Okay, Jim has made a first. Mike has made a second. Roll call. Todd?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Smollett? Aye. Approve that resolution. Down to number 6. This is resolution setting the date for public hearing and proposal to enter into obligation refunding loan agreement and to borrow money thereunder. And that is for resolution number 1081-21. Board of Supervisors of Mitchell County will meet on March 30th, 2021 at the Mitchell County Courthouse, Osage, Iowa at 9:10 a.m. in the purpose of instituting proceedings and taking action on the proposal to enter into loan agreement to borrow money thereunder in principal amount not to exceed $2,385,000. Any motions?
And, discussion first.
Okay,
Talk about it. When we went through all of this initially, there was a bit of confusion in regards to Northland was only going to, Northland only gave us numbers as far as the first resolution bond that I just made a motion for. They were not, their numbers didn't include this one here, so that's why there were some differences as far as what we heard for savings and cost, that type of thing. Whereas Davidson, nothing, no fault to theirs at all, their numbers were based off of both of these bonds. And so that's why we saw some difference numbers as far as Heidi was $330,000, these people were $400,000. There's some question if Northland was going to do both bonds, if there would have been savings in regards to percentages. I don't know that, but I guess, I don't know. I didn't know that until yesterday. Started looking at this stuff, made some phone calls, so I just want to make sure everybody knew that there was a difference between the two companies as far as what they were looking at.
Let D.A. Davidson still give us the best percentage.
They did based on they were looking at 2. I don't, you don't know what Northland would have done if they were looking at 2. I just want people to know that that's what happened, so.
I know the one was $10 a thousand, the other one was $9 a thousand. So right there's $1 a thousand. 5 million is 500,000, you know, I mean, or that's $50,000.
say they didn't charge any disclosure fees. I did talk to, by email with Nate Summers yesterday, he actually got back with me last night, and their disclosure fees are, this isn't, I guess, part of this, so I don't know if we're gonna talk about this or not, but their disclosure fees are included in on what they're going to do, so it's part of that 0.9% of the bar amount. And anyway, yeah, there's more to it than that, but
Okay. So, moving on. Do we have any motions to approve this resolution, setting the date on our second obligation in funding loan?
I'll make a motion for 1081-21.
Mark has made a motion, do we have a second?
I can second that, for setting the date.
Mike
March
has seconded.
30th.
Roll call, Todd,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Jim,
aye.
Mike. Aye. Smollett, aye. So we have passed resolution 1081-21. Moving on. We are now on number 9, update from Town and Country Insurance. Carla, I will let you have the floor.
Thank you. Okay, again, my name is Carla Mitchell. I am an agent at Town and Country. So when we were here last time, we had no idea that you had entered into a contract with Heartland Pool. Got our hands on that. The contract was dated May of 2019 with an effective date of July of 2020. So 14 months ahead of time you signed that contract. We do not see it's a contract. We don't see any way you can break that contract. So you are with Heartland for another 5 years. If you would ever choose to go with somebody else, we would suggest you start the process 6 months ahead of time. Heartland does require a 90-day notice of your intent if you would make a decision to go with somebody else. So, but it is a lengthy process as far as obtaining the quote, presenting it to you. You make a decision of what you want to do. But we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to at least listen to us and let us read your contract, but yeah, so not until 2025 could we be of any assistance. So, unless something happens in between there with your contract, but, okay?
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
And
coming
again,
back.
thank you for letting us,
Should be
Have the
9 months
opportunity.
ahead of that?
pardon me?
Should be like 9 months ahead of that?
Yeah,
or 90
apparently
days?
9
Well-
months ahead of that.
Your contract says 90 days before to let them know if you weren't going to go with them. But we would need, like, January to start quoting things, so,
Truthfully, you'd need more than,
well, that would include your 90 days, so. If we had notice like in January, we could get you a quote before you would have to give notice.
Okay.
But if you wanted to start the process sooner, that's even better. It gives us a little more time, and so we're not so much under the gun.
okay.
5-year contract seems like a long time for, do they, they don't lock in your premiums then either, do they?
I don't know anything about the contract, why it was signed, or anything about the premiums. I can't speak for that,
Yeah, before time too. but-
yeah. So,
I think I was part of that. I guess I don't know why we do it 5 years ahead.
And if they lock in your premiums, it's probably a good thing, but.
well, that's what I didn't know, if they locked it in. I
Yeah.
have no idea. I've been like, oh, that's pretty good if they
Yeah,
did that.
if
I
they do
don't
that,
know.
yeah, I don't, you don't know. I guess we'd have to look at the contract.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Carla.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
Number 10, Discussion and possible action on county care facility. Jim, you need the floor?
Yeah, I just talk about it a little bit. So, about a year ago, the board was searching to have the county home tore down, looking to have a DNR do a grant to help pay for it. Part of that grant has to do with we repurpose some of the buildings, so not a lot of it goes to the landfill. Number of reasons why the DNR turned it down and rejected the grant. So I contacted a local contractor and I know there's asbestos out there, so I just asked him, what's the deal if there's asbestos in tearing a building down? He said he needs, all of asbestos needs to be out before he can touch it, and then there's a 10-day waiting period. And I said, well, is there a chance that, I had no idea. I said, is there a chance that the building can be misted, so when you tear it down, there's nothing escaping and you can push it in a hole? He said, you can't. You used to be able to do that when the building was to the point where they couldn't remove the asbestos, say, so to speak, if someone was burned. And that did happen up at Godfather's. They could mist it, they could haul it out. The whole thing is considered asbestos when you do that. There's no, you don't reclaim anything, the whole thing is considered asbestos. Now, they've changed the rules where there's a place in Charles City that an apartment complex, it burned, same kind of thing. He can't do it because of the training that's involved with his people. Charles City, they hired a place out of Chicago to come do it, and the whole thing is considered asbestos, has to be hauled to a certified site, so there's big dollars involved with doing that. My concern is if the building gets to the point where they can't safely feel that they're going to enter it and get rid of the asbestos, then we have the whole building considered asbestos. Have to hire a special firm to come do it and certify it. So I'm wondering if the board wants to think about maybe moving and trying to get that thing taken care of.
I think it'd be a good idea to get the asbestos removed. Yes. I went out there and looked at this, so where is asbestos?
I don't know exactly.
It's in the tile,
Okay.
The tile.
and then there was a couple of,
Floor or tile? What? I didn't see it.
it's in the floor, it's in between the tile and the floor. And then there was another couple spots, but there was,
Do we have
seemed
paperwork
like
on that?
Stan had it someplace that would,
It's here.
I mean,
would,
I haven't read the whole thing, but it's in.
they would take out the asbestos for a pretty reasonable amount of money. I mean, it was fair, I thought.
There were 3 quotes, and I'm not gonna, I'll be happy to share the quotes with anybody,
But not during the meeting.
but I'm not gonna do it
Yeah.
here.
No.
There was one that was fair, and there was one that was just out of this world.
Yep.
And so, it'll be, I don't know if those quotes could still be honored, I kinda doubt it, but, if we're gonna move forward with this, it's gonna be a county attorney thing as far as to have him say, this is what we probably need to do as far as recording it, or just touch your base with these people, or, but before anybody goes through all of that, not necessarily me, we need to know if we wanna move forward on it.
Is it possible that, to get in touch with those 3 and see if they could give us a fresh quote, per se? This isn't something where we could just do the asbestos, get the asbestos out of it for this year, and work on the rest down the road, because I still think crushing it, utilizing it,
I'd like to dig a hole, push it in the hole.
well, that's possible too.
That's the cheapest route.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, just be done with it. I did call the cheapest quote on there, and had some questions about different things. And he indicated that there's not a lot of, with their business, there isn't a lot of change that makes prices go way up. So he would be willing to come and take a look at it, and I suppose he needs to know if the building's falling down or not before he says, yeah, I'll do that with that price.
Do we
But
need to go through 3 quotes again, though?
that's gonna be what Mark is gonna have to kind of help with.
If we could get that fair bid to do it for that amount of money, we could possibly do that yet this year, get the asbestos out and go with the rest of it at a later date. What's the consensus of the board members?
I was just out there the other day and looking at it, I just soon move forward to, I mean, it's just a damn eyesore for so many years, and I don't know what, did it have a year in there? I can't remember. Okay, so, no, I'm fine. It's not gonna be free anyway.
No,
matter what we
But
do, so.
this one bid was very, very, very reasonable. And if we could do that at close to that amount, I think we ought to get the asbestos out of it. It's gone. Then we're legit to do whatever. Bury it if that's what you want.
I think you're gonna be looking at, just gonna throw this out there, but it's probably you're gonna look at probably $50,000 to $100,000 to get rid of that whole thing. That's asbestos and put it in a hole. That's just
You're
my
gonna
thought.
spend more than that.
Okay. The repurposing thing ended up being pretty expensive. We went through all of those, they were grinding all the block up, they were doing all this and that's where a lot of trucking and everything, that's where all the expense came. That's where I'm thinking, dig a big hole, put it down there, we're done. But
The building's not gonna go away, so we gotta might as well deal with it. I've dealt with asbestos removal companies before, and yeah, you need to shop around, because there's a lot of difference between the high and the low, multiple times, you know.
does anybody here want to work on that? You want me to work on that? What do you guys want?
You got a company that?
Well, I've dealt with a couple of companies, yeah, there's one on Clear Lake that was the most reasonable, I don't know who you got there, or maybe we should talk about it.
Yeah,
I've
do
dealt
that
with stuff
after. But
before.
anyways,
Sure.
the consensus of the board sounds to be like it's a go.
Okay.
It doesn't. It's not gonna go away.
We'll start looking into it and see what we need to do, so.
All right.
We really don't need a motion or anything.
No,
Let's
this
just
is-
look into it,
this-
bring it
we're
back to
just-
us and-
We're looking for
We should be able to get
information and we'll go
updated
from,
quotes, don't you think?
What's that?
We should be able to get updated quotes, shouldn't we?
Yes. Yeah, this is something-
Proceed with.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
you got, and I actually got some more, I found some more.
Okay.
All right, I'll get those to you guys too.
perfect.
This will be probably on my desk. This is it. You guys want to look at it? That's what it is.
Okay.
What's that?
Todd's asbestos removal?
No, yeah, let's get going on that.
I think we can get the asbestos out of it, get the bad part out of it,
Yes.
and we can go from there.
Okay.
Moving on, number 11, approved liquor license for Sunny Brae Golf and Country Club.
I'll make that motion.
Todd has made the motion, apparently you golf out there.
You the bartender?
Golfer.
You sure?
I'll second that.
Mark has seconded. Roll call.
Think about being a golfer.
Todd,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Smolik, aye. So we've approved the liquor license for Sunny Brae Golf and Country Club. Number 12. Discuss the use of county vehicle policy. So, that's why we got to talking to from county attorney.
So, do you want to talk, Adam, or do you want to?
I'm happy to answer any questions, talk to you guys.
Okay.
Just here for information. I can enlighten you on how that came about. I know you guys got some comments and whatnot, but basically in 2013 we made a motion as a board to allow our park supervisor to use the vehicle full time for a number of reasons. I don't know how interested you guys are. I understand there was some complaints. It just comes down to efficiency for us as to why we do that. I don't know. I guess entertain questions from you guys. I don't know exactly what your concerns are. I guess I know it's not in the county policy book, and that just got redone here. I must have missed it or not checked in too hard to that book when they wrote it, but I guess my opinion would be that we should probably add it in there. But
I guess my thoughts on that are that the conservation board is the board that manages the conservation, and I'm not really one to like to micromanage things. I feel it's their job to take care of that department. If Adam and the conservation board think that that's something that they need to do, then I don't have a problem with them doing that. Update the policy so that it's clear that that's what needs to happen, but I don't really find it my role to tell them, no, you can't do this. Or it'd be like saying, I want you to mow Interstate Park next week and then hold off on Hendricks. It's just, I don't want to micromanage that. If they feel they have the need to do that, then I'm good with that.
Any other comments?
I got just, a question, like, so the person that takes it home, we have a lot of public hunting grounds and stuff around. Do you guys open up those driveways in the winter, or would you, if, you know, people want to go and hunt, if the snow, you know, how the grader could roll over some snow, I mean, could he go by and push those so people could get to the field drive and walk out to the hunting? I mean, I don't know if there's, maybe you've never come across that.
no, we haven't come across it for the hunting areas.
Okay.
Typically, people kind of just do their own thing on that. Not to say we couldn't if there was a request for it, for sure. But the one that gets plowed the most would be the Pinnakin Alders area. It's a long drive back in there. It might be 3/4 mile back to where the cabin is. So that's the main one that gets plowed out there in the winter. And then our shop and the recycle center and anything else they need. But typically, the wildlife areas do not get plowed. But if we had a request to plow one, that could be done for sure.
And I'm not requesting it, I just,
Yep.
I kind of thought maybe that was part of a duty that, you know, you guys might open those field drives, but it's too cold for me to go on that time of year anyway, so. But,
So, I mean, if somebody has a question as far as why that's happening, why your vehicles are being used the way they are, I mean, you need to have an answer for it. When the public says, why is that person able to use the truck? You know, you need to have an answer for that. You can't just say, well, just because. I mean,
Sure.
you know, he parks out, he plows out the entrance to that.
Sure, I didn't know if you guys were aware of what's going on there, if you need answers, or if people should just come to our board for that. That's kind of the way it typically works, but I'm happy to answer anything you guys have. I guess the reason we do it is Brian's on call 24/7 during the summer and during the winter. Granted, there's less calls in the winter, but we do rent that cabin out on the weekends, and you'd be surprised how often it is. Weather's unpredictable, so you stay prepared for people. You know, you might have someone come in on Friday night at that cabin, and then it's a different person on Saturday. That cabin has to be checked and cleaned and all that too. So it's not just snow removal or something like that. There's things that have to be taken care of that way too. So I think, you know, throughout the hunting season, that cabin's booked pretty much every weekend, and sometimes during the week. So you've got that transition period there that he's responsible for. We're adding cabins, obviously, here this year. There'll be 2 more. I don't know how late they'll be open yet. We haven't set a policy on that, but that could be more workload. Also in the wintertime, you can imagine our driveway going in there full of snow like it was yesterday. You bring everybody to work at 6 a.m. where are you going to park? It's just makes sense to have somebody come in early and push the snow out of the way so you're not parking and walking on the road. Just efficiency, things like that if we need to get into Mitchell Mill Dam. So those are kind of the reasons that it's available during the winter for him to take home too. And it's kind of advertised in our job as a perk for the job. You get a vehicle to take home, you don't have to drive your own every day. And when you're on call like that, you're not going to want to come, say, from wherever our park supervisor lives now by Little Cedar. If there's a call in Stacyville, it doesn't really make sense to drive to the shop, get the work truck with all the tools and equipment you're going to need, and then go out to Stacyville. We also have quite a bit of flooding in the campgrounds. We've had 3 historic floods in the time I've been here already, where we've had to evacuate campgrounds. That's almost an annual basis when you have to do that so that people don't get under. So you don't want to be messing around switching vehicles at that point. You just need to be able to go. And so those are some of the main reasons. I don't know if you guys need every little detail on that, but the other thing I'd say is don't be afraid to call if you got a question or you hear something. I'm always willing to take those, but you should direct people to our board. That's something you shouldn't have to really worry about. You guys got enough going on, and that's why there is an autonomous board there, so you can kind of clean your hands and say, go talk to them. And then if you're not satisfied after that, you know, we can definitely revisit the issue. We'll work with you regarding the public on any issue. So.
Okay. Well, I hadn't had too many complaints, but the ones I had, I let go over my head for the last couple of years. But since it's been brought up again, my phone's been ringing off the hook. And I do see times when Brian having the truck, it does work out. It doesn't work out when the public goes by his place and sees he's cleaned his yard out with it. And again, I, going by, know that he has to drive in his yard to get in his yard. If I was doing it, I would plow my own yard out. But when the phone rings at my place, telling them to call you doesn't work that well when they're screaming at me. And saying it doesn't work calling you. But I can see where Brian having the truck makes, you have a good point. It just might be that sometimes during the winter time, maybe you ought to leave the thing that out here. That's my opinion. So you don't give them ammunition to scream at us. And I know, Mike, you're the one that apparently stopped calling me to call you. But then after talking with Mike, I got other people that's, I've seen this and wondered why this is happening. And it's like, people I didn't think would say anything.
Well, I guess I'd strongly recommend you to send them to us first and see if that works, because I've received no calls. The only call I've gotten was from someone in the past who has kind of had a vendetta with somebody, and there's maybe legal action pending there. You know, if there's going to be a complaint, it needs to be in writing or in person, or directly to me. Otherwise, we got ghosts going on here. You know, our board's not going to change a policy based on that. If there's a policy change that needs to be made, they're willing to look at that, but we need to hear from the public directly on that. That's kind of how state law states it, and like I said, we'd work with you, but that's got to come to that stage first. So, I'm sorry your phone's ringing, I really am. As far as the plowing of his driveway goes, that was kind of a one-time permission. I made a handshake deal with Brian. I said, you can plow your snow once in a while. We borrowed a skid loader for a year and a half. So he didn't charge us any rent or anything. Maybe that's not the most professional way to do things, but hey, it saved the county $3,000 or more. Handshake deal. We kind of put that to an end just hearing this, that, you know, don't plow your driveway unless it's an absolute emergency. His skid loader's back at his place right now, so he should be able to take care of himself. I understand that, and that will only be used in an absolute dire emergency where he's just gotta go from where he's parked to get the heck out of there. So,
Well, again, I've been getting calls for a couple of years, and I let it go over my head. I didn't see it, didn't hear. Mike got calls, I don't know if anybody else did, but, myself, as far, and I somewhat disagree with the county attorney, policy is policy. We have a policy. That's what we have here.
Yeah, no employers have policies, I think the world would be.
I'm not gonna change something here.
I guess I look at it as, I'd like to give it a shot, as in for the future, our protocol will be, I don't know if I would have, I don't think I'm not gonna have Adam make redo his policy. I'd say let's make a protocol. Our phone calls that we get need to change, to go to Adam. Now, Adam, what Adam just said, not one of us can say, well, we could now, but before today, we couldn't tell them really some of the reasons Adam just gave us. I'd like to not make it big. Let's continue on to let him take the truck home. Our phone calls we gotta tell them to go to Adam. They have their own board. Yes, we may oversee that, but you need the steps of command are going, you need to call Adam, and let's see if we can get this at least slowed down. Because I personally know what's going on also there. I think most of us do. So rather than change it now, let's just send the calls to Adam. And if he hasn't got any calls, why would he change anything? You know what I'm saying? You know, let's send them to Adam. Let him tell these. And if he gets too many, comes back to us, let's change the policy here. Let's move forward. But if he hasn't got any calls, how would he know other than today?
Well, I was at the meeting, I told him.
Well, and that was,
Yeah,
what, 2 weeks ago?
Last 2 weeks.
I mean, are you okay with that? And getting the phone call, we
Yeah,
just send it to
absolutely.
you? Or your board, I don't know who there's a chair or somebody at your board, or if it should just,
well, Jim Oberfeld is the chair, so the public can call our board, they can call myself. You know, our policy kind of states that it should go to the department head first, and then it should go to the board. And the board of supervisors, you guys, I know you're all new, and I'm not trying to, you know, supersede or anything like that, but an autonomous board, you guys have control of the budget. You don't have control of the policies on that. So that's just the way it works. You're more than welcome to talk to our board members and express your opinions, talk to myself, however you want to do that. But at the end of the day, it's like any other board too, the health board, the assessor's board. You guys will make those determinations, and that's why you direct them to us, because it's not your concern as far as that goes. And I understand that doesn't stop your phones from ringing. That comes with the job.
Remember one thing though, our policy's been in effect way before your policy was put in. And it's county.
And we're willing to work with you, Steve. I don't know what you mean by that
Well,
exactly, but we're
What
all
I'm saying
together here.
is, you're right about us being the ones that run the checkbook. And if things don't work out right, checkbooks can dry up. So, please help us on this. Do what it takes to keep the phone from ringing.
That wasn't a good thing to say, Steve.
What's that?
What you just said about the checkbook.
Well, we are the ones that catch the cane. Resolve it.
I got you.
Resolve it.
Yep. we'll build some trust, don't worry about it. I guarantee you we'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Are you happy, Mike?
Well, yeah, well, if I don't get complaints, and I'll send them your way.
I understand you guys are doing your due diligence.
Yeah, we're just trying to do our job, I mean,
It
it's,
is.
it's in the
And
policy.
the reason the
You need
policy
complaints.
was put in there initially was so our phones wouldn't ring.
We gotta have guidelines on the policy.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah.
it's a free-for-all.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's true, but you need to, what Adam said is the way it is. Their board directs how the conservation board runs, and if they feel they need to do this, that's what they need to do. That's their call. The only thing that we have control of is, if we don't like the way the conservation board is being run, then the next time some of the members need to be appointed, we appoint different members because we don't like the way it's being run. I'm not advocating that, but that's
No.
part of our
No.
control. Excuse me, that's part of our control. The other is, we can sell that pickup if we want to. It's the county's, it's the board of supervisors. We have control of the property and the vehicles of the county. So if we want to sell the pickup, we can sell the pickup. But how they want to use their equipment is up to that board. It's not up to us. That's Iowa code, whether you like it or not. So,
Just use it so the phone don't ring.
You never got a plow for that dump truck?
What's that?
The dump truck, they never got a plow for that?
There's a V plow, are you talking about the Ford?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a V plow for it. We really don't break open much for roads, so they haven't put that on there yet. We have our old one.
Cause that one way would probably clear that parking lot a lot quicker than the pickup would.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know what the V, I'm not an expert on snow removal by any means, but I think we just agreed to buy, another Ford from Secondary Roads. I think that one's gotta
I
get set
don't
up on.
believe any of the one-ways on the Fords will, they're a set.
yeah.
You'd have to plow in a one-way.
Push it one in the winter. I like that V-plow.
That just was with the thing, I think it's still out at Secondary
You
Roads.
knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
So, are we all happy with this? I'm good for now.
I think so.
Let me know if you hear more right away, you know, if your phone buzzes today even, just pick it up, give me a call, see what we can do about it. Our board did want to extend a thank you to you guys for your support on Pitson property. So they got some signed thank yous here for each of you. Can't tell you how grateful we are about that. That's a great project. And to get that kind of support is
Thank you.
really great.
I already got mine.
Yeah, you got one. This one's for Jim.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and one for you too, Rachel. Thanks for helping on the funding end, so.
Thank
All
you.
right, Adam.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Meetings attended.
Nothing.
Oh, I had a conservation board meeting last Tuesday. Talked about the Pitson property, going forward with that, and talked about the mill dam needs repairs of $37,000, so Mead and Hunt is gonna be doing those repairs. It's for the generator part there, Matt, and they're looking at bids for the Otranto Dam removal also, so they're
Okay.
working on that. And they raised some of the camping rates just a little bit, and some of the cabins, the Pinnakin cabin's going from 40 to 50, the other cabin over here, over out there is going from 60 to 75. And they had some interest in seasonal camping passes, and so they come up with a $17.50 for a price for a countywide pass. You know, you could go to any park for the county.
1,750.
Yeah, I thought it was a little steep. I don't know. In Statesville, they got 2,000 for a season pass there for, you know, park. Leave it for the year,
You can park there, it sits there.
for the whole year.
Oh, okay.
Because it's got sewer, city sewer, city water. So they got a few of those rented, I guess. I'm not sure how many. I think 3. They did have, maybe they have more now. I don't know. And they talked about they're getting a dump truck from Secondary Roads, another Ford, I guess, for their use. And, that's most of that. And then I had a North Community Action Organization, I had an orientation for that. And I had a meeting with them tonight, actually, too. They have quarterly meetings, so this will be the first quarterly meeting. But they have child development, and low income, rent, housing, and, you know, just all kinds of programs. So I'll learn more about that tonight. But those are the two meetings I had.
You got to see the governor.
Oh, I got to see the governor.
That's
I forgot
right.
that. Yeah, I got to see the governor. How can I forget that? And I did meet with Dave and Chris about the building we talked about over there, and I think we're gonna line up the north side of the current building with the north side of this building. I think it'll look the best, we decided. The utilities are located, and by doing that, we'll miss everything, and we have to stay 20 foot off the sidewalk. And so that it should work out. There's a pole and a utility post, which, but we're far enough away from the alley, we can, you know, go around that stuff. I don't think we'll get them to move those, so yeah. Got the important stuff, didn't I?
I didn't have any.
Okay, well, I had another Floyd Mitchell Chickasaw landfill meeting on March 11th. Approved the agenda, minutes of the previous full board meeting, and summary of bills. Moved on to Citizens Forum, and Gordon Loki, who is the farmer right across the road from the landfill, he was concerned about the trees being removed, creating smell and noise and trash going into his yard. And the reason why the trees are being removed is they're shot. They're a very soft poplar tree. They're 40 years old, they're falling down, they're dying, they're going to pot. And I understand Mr. Loki's concerns. It's just that the trees were starting to fall down. We got highline wires there. If it takes the power out, Mr. Loki's going to be out of power. The landfill's going to be out of power. So they're coming down, and Adam's going to come in and plant trees afterwards. But again, it's going to take years for them to grow up, so it won't be a concern for Mr. Loki. But it is what it is. I mean, the trees were expired. New business. Discussed the audit and approved the audit. Approved the annual water report and financial assurance documents. Discussed the financial statements of February 2021. Discussed unit-based pricing and had an action on that. Discussed a decision on, and his decision on regarding to raising tipping fees, and we'll talk a little on tipping fees. Presently, tipping fees is $41 a ton charged to bring into the landfill. That's what your garbage costs to get rid of it there. The DNR gets $3.30 a ton. Planning gets 95 cents a ton. That's what we have to take out, set aside. Environmental gets 50 cents a ton. You know, that's for the future of the landfill. Anyways, that leaves only $36.25 for the landfill actually puts in their pocket. Now, Lake Mills charges $90 a ton, and the Winnebago County landfill charges $70 a ton. The reason why we want to raise is so that we have future expenses like compactors, the road, the buildings, acquiring more land, any of that equipment out there that's, you know, the little ATVs, the pickups. You need that future funding to sit there to pay for that stuff. And then you have the expense of leachate. Now, we had a dry year this year, so we haven't been spending the usual amount on paying the city of Osage and the city of Elma for our leachate. They have to, you know, leachate is what they pump out. It leaches out from underneath the landfill, and it's something forever. I don't know how that's going to work out. But anyways, that's pumped out. It goes in the pit out there, and then it's pumped into Smith Ag's trucks, and they truck it to the different, city disposal
treatment plant?
disposal treatment plants. Anyways, they're gonna raise the tipping fees. They're also they're gonna only raise it $2. Now, I wanted to go $3, but the majority of, they're still thinking that we wanna be cheap. Go ahead.
They're that much cheaper in other counties. Are other counties, that they see people coming from other places bringing stuff in?
That's the thing is, if
You know,
you live in
I have a semi-load,
Lake-
bring it to you, you know,
Well,
there's no doubt.
Lake Mills area, their fill has to go to Lake Mills, their garbage has to go to
But
that.
anybody can haul out there, correct, or not? Or do you have to?
You gotta be within that jurisdiction of, I think anybody can, but if somebody asks, they kinda want you to be in that Floyd, Chickasaw, Mitchell County area. But anyways, we're only gonna raise $2 and tie this to the consumer pricing index every year. So that we'll get a little jump every year. Anyways, moving on,
I'm sorry, Steve, did you say that it's going to, the new rate is 41, or that's the current
the
rate?
old rate was $41 a ton, and we're only gonna raise it $2.
Okay.
So it's gonna go up to a whole $43.
Like a bargain compared to.
Now that, so, Ellison General, they get charged that also?
That's what they are charged per ton to dump.
It's kind of everybody, whether I take so much in or they take.
You take something in, that's what you're gonna pay. And make sure you got a tarp on it. They discussed the 5-year plan, and what they need to do out there. Okay, dumpsters up front are gonna be redone. They're gonna have an area there, they're putting in an area that will be better for the consumer with a pickup or a car to pull up and throw into these, rather than go out back and be with in the way with the other haulers. But they just discuss many things in their 5-year plan, and I won't get onto that. The convenience area. They had discussion on the members of the HR board. I had a discussion and a decision to add Luana Savings Bank to the depository list and have an account with them. They discussed the job descriptions approved for the director and the assistant director. And they also had a discussion on hiring a landfill operator. There was no director report, so anyways, that was my meetings. Moving on, manure management plans.
We have a first class, 480th Street in McIntyre. Tudor site, 1016 Windfall Avenue in Charles City. And then Benson site, 3189 Underwood Avenue in Orchard.
Okay. Charlie, you got any comments?
Nope.
I don't hear any other public comments, so.
Before we adjourn, I was just thinking, I was up at Caseyville Park the other day, I was coming back from Roch, and I thought, is that planning to open this year?
Yes,
I hope
yes
so.
it is. We might not have all the playground equipment done, but, I mean, I think, I don't know if they got the bathroom fixtures in, but I mean, no, it's all.
I read that they wanted to open it in
Yes.
2021, and that.
May 1st.
Oh, really?
Yeah, weather permitting, yeah.
Did they make a decision on who was gonna be the caretaker there?
Yes, they did. It's, Hoffman, that lives right across the river there in town. Yeah, it's Yeah, you know, he'll be right across the river. Be handy for him, you know, he's retired.
Any other?
Look like it's ready to open.
Yeah, I mean, there's some grass that needs to grow yet, you know, but,
Well, the Wright Plumbing and Heating were in there, and I stopped talking to
Okay.
them, and they said they'll have that bathroom shower area will be done.
yep. that's
And it
what
looks
it's all-
like from the building south, to the highway, it looks like that's ready to go. You just get the grass, and I don't know if he didn't even know, Doug, and if everything was hooked up yet.
I believe so.
Okay.
Just need to turn it on.
But then, like you say, the playground and everything north was a mess. Yeah, but I mean, for moisture, you know, so I don't, but yeah, I think the south part would probably be, as long as the electrical and water is taken care of.
They actually have some trees, logs that they're stripping the bark off, they're gonna shellac them or whatever, and then they're gonna be on cement pedestals for kids to climb on, you know how, so everything, the playground equipment's gonna be like natural stuff, rocks to climb on, did you see the
Yeah,
rocks?
yeah.
North of it, did you see the pool, the little sand beach, and it's
I didn't see that.
yeah, that's just northwest or northeast of the bathrooms there too.
Well, I
and
know
that's-
what,
that's
there's
all.
some hills, but it looks like some trails up there.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure what
where-
that's all
For
about.
kids.
Kids just
Yeah,
running.
running or maybe ride their little bikes or whatever.
You know, we do back in our day.
But, yeah, so it's gonna be like natural play equipment, you know, like
Okay.
trees and rocks and dirt, sand, and,
Anything-
which I think will be good, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to keep the kids' attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay dirty.
That's right, they got a shower.
Okay, good. Looks nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it looks,
But the public in Stacyville are ready for the park to open.
after 3 years we've done, you know, it's time.
All righty.
What do they get for a place there to stay?
Oh, is it 25 a night, I think, maybe I should look.
Is that every park?
What's that?
They all the same price?
No, they're,
$25 a night, just to sit in all that, everybody's campfire, and hear all the dogs barking, drunks screaming at each other, and fist fights. Smoke, oh yeah. Mosquitoes. Unhappy wives, because the kids are all
Okay.
rammed up, wound up.
They do all the work,
Yeah.
loads and unloading.
I got
So I don't,
the camping rates. Riverside Park's gonna be 25 a night or 150 a week. Pay for 6, get a night free. Seasonal is 2,000. Cedar Bridge Park, which is west of Osage, is $20 a night. Weekly 120, pay for 6, you get a night free also. Halverson Park's $20 a night, same as Cedar, 120 a week. Interstate Park, 120 a week, get a night free. So they changed a couple of them here. Otrano Park is 20 also, and Pioneer Park is your cheap park for 15. Seasonal for 650.
And they have a couple, 3, 4 of them there at Pioneer Park,
Pioneer Park, they have some,
all summer long.
yeah. And like Pioneer was 600, they raised it to 650, they raised. Otrano was 18, they went to 20. Interstate Park was 18, they went to 20. And Cedar Bridge Park, they took away the $10 a night without electricity or water. So. You can buy a camper?
No.
And I was reading in their 5-year plan, that Pioneer Park, they really they're trying to get that a little more popular.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, it's got a following now,
Is
but
it?
they want to get a little more tent camping closer to the river, which as long as it don't flood, that'll be an excellent place. But the high ground out at Pioneer Park is dry and never be bothered there. Anyways,
And then the seasonal's 1,750 for all the parks. And that would go with the camper, so I can't buy one and give it to you to use in your camper. It'd be camper specific, you know. And then I think they want you to move every 2 weeks, just because, well, like Statesville, you won't have to, but the other parks, so they can mow and stuff, you know. We go to same answer, leave it there for a month, you know, the grass gets,
Yeah.
so. But that's the camping.